The views and opinions expressed on this station do not reflect the owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Monday, the 4th of January, 2021, the first episode of the new calendar year. Welcome to the Daily Hour, brought to you by Medical House, One Communications, Lindos, and Eliana's. I'm Jamal Hartman, along with Carla Zul. Thanks for making us part of your daily routine. If you haven't already, you know what to do. If you're watching online, share the link. On Facebook, start a watch party. On Twitter, retweet. If you're watching on TV, call someone and tell them if they have one, turn it to channel 82. Get the conversation out there to your network. A great episode to begin the new calendar year as nutritionist Courtney Minors is stopping by. The Daily Play is a Who Said It, so Carla is guessing a famous quote. And if this is your first time joining, boy, oh boy, the Daily Play, I'll leave it at that, the Daily Play. But look, wow. We've made it to another calendar year, and well, it's 4 days. It's the 4th, right? Yeah, 4 days in. And would you believe I have not had any solid food yet for the year?
Oh, right. You know what? I thought about you last night. I was like, I think I may try that. I have to talk to you afterwards. But I had lamb chops.
Yeah. It's been a struggle. And this is why I tell people, and actually, it's great that we have Courtney on today, who is a nutritionist, and she can speak to us in depth about this stuff. But I always tell people, do what works for you. This is my third time doing a 3-day juice fast, and it's different every time. The first time was probably the easiest. This has probably been the hardest. I don't know why, but it's been very difficult. Day number 2 was extremely hard. I don't, throughout my journey, I don't tell people, oh, you should do this or you should do that. Do what works for you. But for me, this was difficult.
You make the juices? It's your juices that you've made, or are there a certain type of juices?
No, I ordered the juices from a company. My own juices I make, I don't make for the juice and fast. I don't trust myself enough to make them for the juice and fast, because you need so many different things. Like you have to have certain juices to make sure you're getting certain nutrients from different things. First off, I just don't have the skills like that. So the juices that I would make regularly, just to be clear, would be like, you probably see me drinking an orange one. That's orange, carrot, ginger, lemon, and turmeric. So that's something I make normally. Then I would make a green juice with berries and apples. But those are the two main juices that I would make. Beets also, which is also a good one. But anyway, enough about me and my juicing. Hopefully, I feel better. I feel energized. What are some of the changes you've made in the first 3.5 days of the year? Yeah.
On Wednesday, last week, we had Terry pop in, and she recommended an app for the finances. Terry Stewart.
Oh, our financial guru. Yes.
So she recommended this app, and so I downloaded it, and Secret to Money. So I do that every morning. There are like some affirmations and some little tasks. So I do that, and then I do a 10-minute meditation. So I haven't done the yoga yet, but I want to incorporate that. So Keisha Allen Smith, one of our other guests, says she has a Power 30 every morning. So I'm trying to create a Power 30 every morning as part of my day. So that's the main thing, little things.
Good stuff. No, I'd like to hear how people have made changes already in the first 3.5 days of the year for some, 3 days for others. Now, interestingly enough, I did set a budget. Yes, Terry would be very proud of us. but I went over my grocery budget for the month already yesterday.
For the month yesterday.
Yeah. And a certain someone says to me, well, you eat more than that. Something to that effect. I'm not going to throw it totally on the bus. I'm like, well, that means we need to eat less. So
it's hard. I am an impulsive buyer. I'm an impulsive buyer in the grocery shop. I'll have a list. And let's just say if I have to get raisins, which everyone's laughing at me about, all of a sudden I see walnuts and I'm like, well, I can't have raisins without walnuts, but walnuts weren't on the list. I'm horrible.
So it's not just me. Well, look, I want to go. We have Courtney Miners coming up to discuss, healthy eating, dieting, and just getting ourselves in check from that perspective as we start the new year. We all want to start on a positive note, a healthier note. But before we get there was an article written last week that I wanted to touch on by Media Maya. And it was an excellent article. And basically it was titled, Ghosted by Government, You Voted, Now Is Your MP Accessible to You? What are they active on Instagram or Twitter? And so basically the article was focused on pretty much when it came to the election, politicians were creating social media accounts and after and were active somewhat. Since the election, they've nowhere to be found. And I think on Instagram, she focused on Jason Wade, who was elected in constituency 30, Jarian Richardson, who was elected in constituency 23, Jason Wade, PLP, Jarian Richardson, OBA. And then here's the interesting thing. And I want to focus on the Free Democratic Movement. They hadn't posted since on Instagram, since they created their account September 4th, they posted 92 times and hadn't posted since October 10th on Instagram, right? And she went on a list of who's been the most active since, which was obviously former Premier Michael Dunkley, Lawrence Scott, MP Famous, and right down to the Premier David Burt. That's Instagram. And then on Twitter, she went even further. Well, she did the same thing with Twitter, I should say. But she picked up on something with what's his name, MP Lister, Dennis Lister 3. And it just spoke of their presence on social media. Then when you go to Twitter, again, Dunkley tops the charts, then backbencher Jamal Simmons, then Minister of Education Diallo Urbane, then Premier David Burt. So you see a pattern here, right? Here's my question for the audience based on this. It was a very good article. If you haven't read it, go to Maya's website. It's media-maya.com. Maya.com. An excellent article because it was something I was thinking about. I was just wondering, like, why do we accept this from them? And I remember a person who's very vocal on this show in Twitter. She literally called him out saying, "Yo, we ain't seeing an old boy talking about the premier since the election." And I said, "Yeah, he secured the bag. He doesn't necessarily need us or to engage as much anymore." But the question for the morning is very simple. Should politicians have a social media presence to engage with the electorate? That's the question.
Wow. I read the article. I found it interesting, but I didn't. And I'll tell you why. These politicians need to understand that these young people aren't stupid. Okay. I don't think, because Maya did some polls and she showed some of the responses. And one of the responses resonated with me where one person said, I don't think that they should be obligated to reply on social media or to engage on social media. I totally agree. However, I also feel that if they created these accounts to garner the votes of the young people, you can't just get what you want and then stop playing the game. So they set a precedent for themselves. Now, with MP Dunkley, MP Famous, and a few others who always engaged on social media, that's a bit different. But I think that it was so obvious that some of them came up with these accounts specifically for this election. Okay, now we got your votes. We're done. our purpose is served. And then all of a sudden, come 2024, 5, they're going to re-engage again. Stop taking people for stupid. That's where I think they're going wrong.
I hear you. I think I agree with all you've said. I don't think it's an obligation necessarily. It should be put into law. Here's the challenge we have. Dr. Ewart Brown was the first one I remember who engaged on social media. He was on Facebook. He didn't care if you came at him with vile comments. He responded. He was very responsive. And it was Facebook back then, right? I mean, he would go toe to toe with you. He had a lot of time on his hands, to the point I remember, and maybe his press secretary at the time told him, hey, ease up on that stuff. So he was very good at it, and probably the first. Former Premier Michael Dunkley has always been good at it as well, and David Burt to a different extent. But my comment before I saw Maya's article, what I was going to say, no, Jamal Simmons wasn't the press secretary I was just talking about. That's why I didn't say a name. I think what puzzled me is how different they are when they're in power versus when they're in opposition. And what I mean by that, David Burt, for instance, look at his social media activity on Facebook and other, all over before he was elected to now. And I know things change, you have less time. And then look at some of the others who were in the OBA pre-2012, then look at them after they won. And then look at them after. Look at how they communicate differently. There's this arrogance in there. There's arrogance like, I'm here now, I don't need to communicate like I used to. But let me say this to the original point and the article regarding social media. And to quote David Burt, the Honorable Premier, let me be clear. Nobody cares about how many turkeys you donate anymore. Nobody cares about how many backpacks you give. Nobody cares about how much money you put into the community. What they care about is having access to you. And if you make it difficult for people to have access to you, then expect more of what you're getting. So I don't believe that it should be a written law that politicians should have to engage. But if you get into politics, you better feel the need to engage. You have to go where your voters are. If your voters are on social media, then you need to go there. This is not something you can sit back and say, oh, well, I'm not into social media, but I go to the doorstep. This is the one that gets me. Because MP Jason Hayward, Minister Jason Hayward, whatever he goes by now, because these black folk love titles, right? Starting already. Resolution number 1 going. But anyway, him, for instance, post this thing on LinkedIn about some clinic that he and the Premier and I believe Jason Wade are doing. These young people don't care for clinics, especially if they're going to wear a mask necessarily. No, go where they are. Go where they are.
And the other thing is authenticity, because say what you like, and I'll use former Premier Dunkley again. He's authentic in his social media presence. We know he golfs. We know he has 4 generations of his family right now. I know he has a personalized bottle of whatever because I teased him about it. We know that he had, whatever he done in politics, he was authentic with it. And again, these guys need to stop thinking that, okay, we can just engage her. And if you don't know, because someone made a point earlier, not everyone's tech savvy. Hire someone to consult for you. You don't think that all these people that tweet besides Donald Trump don't have someone who does the tweeting for them, but that person knows them so well, it can sound like them. Like, stop thinking that you're going to do something and do it half bleep and expect to garner results. Like, put the investment in it as well if you need to do it. But you can't sleep on these young people. They will rip you to shreds if you haven't figured it out yet.
Oh, indeed. And I totally agree with you. And I think Charles pretty much echoes what I'm saying. I believe that elected officials should meet their constituents where they are before, during, and after an election. And, look, the younger voters, the voters 35 and under, these are not your parents. They're not even your generation, they are not going to stick around and vote for your party just because the other guys are bad next time around. Yeah, you swept home this time around. And, I have my own theory as to why it happened. I just figured that, you know what? UBP, OBA voters can give a crap who's in government. They have their money, they have their businesses. You're not going to impact it because for the country to do well, you need our businesses. So to run around celebrating 36, that's not doing much for, against them per se. Terry Too Cool says, agree. The fact that after the election, some fall off is frustrating. David Michael Wilson, Carla.
You can be present on social media, but not present in person. Your presence should be a representation of you wherever you are, whatever medium.
Indeed. Ray Kai Emery says 100% agree. The OB are the worst with social media. None of their post-election pages work. Interesting. I want to touch on this. Teresa Stewart says, one thing, Dunkley is consistent, always been on brand on social. Let me say this about Michael Dunkley real quickly before we go to the news break, then bring Courtney on. I think with Michael Dunkley, even when he was premier, I'll give him credit. I think him and Dr. Ewart Brown have so much in common in this respect. Although after he left politics, Dr. Brown pretty much left social media. I would too. When you want to enjoy retirement, you just don't want to deal with it. But I think the difference is when we talk about authenticity, you got the same Michael Dunkley pre, during, and after. With David Burt, it just never seems real. Like if you ask someone who is David Burt, they probably won't know. Is it the one that would hang out at a certain club, get drunk, and be friendly? Is it the one who's on the news sounding like it's some white guy from Connecticut? Like, what are you getting? It does not seem authentic. So I agree with that. I just want to touch on the FDM before we move on as well. Someone said to me immediately following the election, when the FDM failed to win one seat, right now is the biggest test on whether the FDM survives. What they do between now and when the next election is called. If they fail to remain consistent and involved, then I can't possibly see how this party will continue to exist. Now, I did see something recently saying that they'll be doing some stuff, but as Media Maya said, like, you can't just go, like, look, I don't like Instagram. I probably posted 6 times on the last year, but I'm not in politics. I'm not asking for anyone's vote or anything like that. Go ahead, Carla, and then we'll head to you.
No, I was going to say, I read that article where they said they were talking about the New Year's Day greeting and said they didn't see a need, but they are working behind the scenes. So time will tell. But again, don't foray into the forest if you don't want to cut the grass. Like, I made that up just now.
I like that. You're good at this. Real quick, we'll do some comments, then get to the news. Mia Hartman says, MP Hayward is the most unmanly individual I've ever come across. Walks through the neighborhood, has never opened his mouth. He doesn't even make well, I think we can all be honest about MP Jason Hayward. He just isn't a personable person, but nor is David Burt, the premier. I don't necessarily think you have to be a personable person to be good at politics. You just have to meet people where they are. And that's on him. Linda Bell says, thank you for helping us through 2020. Hope the best for this new year. Happy New Year. Love you all. My minister, Tanae Furbit, is very active, very elective. God bless her family. She is an awesome person. I do agree. And let's be clear, not all politicians are the same. There are a lot that are out there and doing it. As Maya's article shares. Robert Durham says, I agree, Jamel. They must meet people where they are. I, for one, cannot get into Twitter and IG. Oh, I'm a Twitter guy. Renee Sherlin Simmons, that's true. Even after many insults, he sticks to the wicket. Got to give him that. That is Michael Dunkley. Elizabeth Varro, Twitter is too hot for the spot. Oh, yeah. Oh, I think so. Lamone Wood says, I think it is fair because politicians can't control social media. Anyone can challenge you, the intellectuals and the crazies. One wrong tweet or comment can be their political career. Well, that's why you need to be of a certain level. I mean, let's just be honest. The bar for getting into politics in Bermuda is so low. Well, we're not going to go there. Let's go over to Carla for the news. It's a new year. I'm trying this thing and it's not working.
Bermuda is to be left without direct air service from Canada for more than a month after Air Canada announced it was suspending weekly flights to the island because of a massive slump in business caused by the coronavirus pandemic. The airline said its Toronto to Bermuda service would be suspended after its January 8th flight until February 12th. WestJet, another Canadian carrier, confirmed that its suspension of many international flights, including the service from Toronto to Bermuda, would remain in force. A police investigation is underway after the Bermuda Police Service received reports of a social media event attended by a significant number of individuals at a location in Pembroke Parish on the evening of January 1st. Attendees were also reportedly not wearing masks nor practicing social distancing. These are all offenses under the current COVID-19 regulation. Anyone with information is asked to call 211 or the main police number 295-0011. For those who enjoy visiting the Bermuda Aquarium Museum and Zoo, you'll have to wait until the end of the month to see your favorite furry friend or aquatic animal, as the facility will remain closed to the general public until January 25th in order to limit potential exposure to animals which are susceptible to coronaviruses. Principal Curator Dr. Ian Walker saying, unfortunately, BAM still faces the same concerns in regard to ensuring the health and welfare of our animals and fish as we did when the facility closed to the public on December 12th. We apologize to our loyal patrons and ask for their understanding at this time as this action is being taken for the safety of animals, members of the public who visit the zoo, and animal care staff. Now, do you know what today is, Jamal? You have juice, so Did you gain weight over Christmas?
What's that?
Did you gain weight over Christmas?
I don't know,
Due to the amount of food and drink consumed during the holiday season, chances are you may have gained a bit of weight during the holidays. So weigh-in day is a great time to set your first New Year goal. Start eating better and exercising more regularly so you can not only shed that weight, but improve your overall health. How to celebrate weigh-in day? The first thing you have to do is get on your scale, and then it's time to do the work. If you're having problems deciding what foods you should be cutting down on or eating more of, on which exercise you should do to help you achieve your goal weight, there are plenty of dietitians like our guest today, Courtney, and personal trainers out there who will be glad to help you get healthier and lose weight the right way. Turning to weather, the high temperature in Bermuda will be 73 today, 55 in Atlanta, Georgia, and 40 in Manchester, UK. It's Reggae Mondays all day on the 4100 radio. Don't miss the mix with Juggle and Jason from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. Bermuda time. That's your Daily Hour news break.
Yeah, I'm not, I don't know about you, but knowing that during the holidays, we're all likely to eat a bit more, I think getting on a scale would probably be a bit scary. Yeah.
I don't weigh myself, I know I weigh approximately what I weigh, and they do it in stones out here, but I don't know what I weigh myself maybe twice a year.
I think someone I used to work with said that she doesn't weigh her. She is a very fit person. She said, I don't weigh myself. I do based on how my clothes fit me. So yeah, my jeans were a bit tighter last September, so I ain't really been wearing jeans since. But anyway, let's take a quick break. We'll be back with Courtney Miners to discuss some healthy eating tips for the 2021 calendar year.
Good day, Medical House Doris speaking. Can I help you?
Medical House is Bermuda's leading one-stop shop for healthcare.
Medical House is a great resource for Lefroy. The service is excellent.
Medical House is best known for its uniforms and footwear. It has hundreds of styles of scrubs and nurses' uniforms for health professionals. Bermuda's top doctors, dentists, care homes, and the hospital choose Medical House for a wide range of products. These same professional quality products are available to you for home health care.
The biggest reason to come see us is that we specialize in these areas and the education and knowledge that we provide.
Medical House is on Millreach Lane in Pembroke, where there's private parking right outside the door. Call or visit Medical House today.
Perrier water has been renowned worldwide for over a century and a half. Collected from a pristine ancient mineral water spring in the south of France, originally bottled in a distinctive green pear-shaped bottle, and distributed in Bermuda by John Barris Unlimited, our foremost beverage distributor, Refreshing Perrier is the champagne of mineral waters. Try Perrier water in bold, natural fruit flavors with no added sugar and 0 calories. This month, we're featuring peach, strawberry, watermelon, orange, pink grapefruit, lime, cucumber, and regular Perrier water in cans. Lindos, why go anyplace else?
And welcome back to the big show. It's the Daily Hour. Carla Zool, I'm Jamel Hartman. Thanks again to Medical House One Communications, Linda's Eliana's Crimson Multimedia over there on Channel 82, where you can watch this and many other Bermudian produced programs. Without further ado, let's bring in our guest for the day, Courtney Miners. She is a nutritionist, and she's going to help us all get our year off to a healthier start. Courtney, welcome to the show.
Hi, good morning, everyone. How are you guys doing?
Morning.
I'm feeling a bit lighter due to my juice fast.
All right, well, that's good.
I haven't had any solid food all year. It feels good to say that, but
all year, right?
Yeah, all year. But
So dramatic.
It's been a struggle. It has definitely, like I said, I mean, I'm not a professional at this. I do what works for me. But it's been a struggle, and I will tell anyone who thinks about doing it, as my wife said, know your body, know your own body. But enough about me. Let's speak to us about what you do. What is it you do? Like, what exactly is a nutritionist?
Sure. So that's a great question. So I'm actually a registered dietitian nutritionist. And there's actually a difference between a dietitian and a nutritionist. So that's really important, especially, if you're seeking help for nutrition, understanding what you need to look for in your practitioner. So a nutritionist generally doesn't need to have any sort of degree. They basically, take a certification. It may be for a few months, few weeks, and then they can call themselves a nutritionist. Whereas a dietitian, they need to have a minimum of a bachelor's degree in dietetics or nutrition. They have to complete at least 1,200 to 1,500 hours of clinical. So that way you're in the field learning, how to practice. And then from there, you sit a board exam. And every few years, you have to continue your registration by doing continuing education units. So you're constantly up on the research and knowing what you're doing. So that's the distinct difference between a dietitian and a nutritionist. And as a dietitian, you can work in various areas. I work in a hospital, and I also have private clients that I see one-on-one to help with various medical issues.
Interesting. I didn't know that. So it would almost like dietitian, nutritionist is almost like comparing is it a RN and a CNA? Like clinical nurse?
Similar. So just like a registered nurse, they have to keep up, with their licensure. I'm a registered dietitian, so that's pretty comparable. I even had a client this weekend, and she said that she had been working with a nutritionist who really didn't understand her clinical profile, her medical history. And unfortunately, they aren't qualified to provide medical nutrition therapy, which is basically nutrition to treat disease. So as a dietitian, I'm qualified to do that.
Alrighty. So look, after such a challenging 2020, many are looking to get to 2021 they're looking to get the new year off to a healthier start. With better eating habits and exercise. Obesity is a huge deal within Bermuda. According to a 2017 report, 1 in every 3 adults in Bermuda is actually obese, making it one of the most obese jurisdictions in the world. Yeah. That said, what are some ways you'd recommend where people can ease into a healthier lifestyle and not just dive in like me and my juicing?
Yeah. Well, that's good and it works for you. You're right. People have to be, literally smart about these choices and not, feel like it's a sprint, you know what I mean? So that in the next 6 months, you've developed healthy habits that are going to help you reach your goal. So we, as dietitians, we like our clients to reach SMART goals that are specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and time-based. So that's what we call a SMART goal. So it's not like, oh, I want to lose 20 pounds in 1 month. Well, that's kind of overreaching, but how are you going to get to that goal, right? So maybe you say to yourself, you know what, I haven't been eating breakfast. I've been getting up, just having a coffee loaded with creamer and sugar and starting my day. And maybe you want to focus on having a balanced breakfast every single day. Okay, then, start there. Start one meal at a time. Maybe for you, it's, I want to try and work on getting more vegetables into my diet. Okay, well, maybe I'll throw some spinach into my omelet every morning, or I'll try and have a salad twice a week. But really try and focus on small things, because those are the things that will lead to long-term results.
Indeed. Long term. It's what they say, it's a marathon, not a sprint, right?
That's right.
It takes such discipline though to eat healthier.
Mm-hmm.
Comparatively speaking, would you agree that we have to train our minds and our bodies to eat healthier for it to become natural?
In all honesty, I feel like, and I see this time and time again with my clients, is that when we get them onto a good eating plan, your body thrives on that, right? So you'll notice an improvement in your mental clarity. You'll notice an improvement in, how your body moves, right? You'll notice an improvement in regularity in your bowel movements, your energy, your sleep. And when you go back to eating those things that maybe you were eating before, high sugar, those sorts of things, you don't like the way that you feel. So that first couple weeks in changing some habits, it may be difficult, but if you stick through, you'll notice improvements in how you feel, which is always great.
And
Courtney,
just,
go ahead, ma'am.
It's a concern that has been shared, is that eating healthy is too expensive, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Is this necessarily the case? And what, I guess, for those who may not have the financial ability to purchase certain foods, what would you recommend to doing that? Like, I mean, would it be cheaper to get a pot and grow some of your own stuff?
Right. So that's a great question. And I work with clients on all different spectrums. I have people who are students, who are on a budget, people who are working, people with large families, and eating healthy can always be achieved, right? So it's about thinking about your lifestyle, what makes sense to you. And eating healthy does not have to be expensive. You don't have to go to specialty stores. You don't have to eat all organic in order to be healthy, right? So looking at convenience foods, right? So there are healthy convenience foods. So for example, frozen foods, a lot of people think, oh, well, it's frozen, it's not going to be healthy. Well, actually, frozen produce can be just as healthy or have more nutrients than fresh fruits and vegetables, right? So ideally, those frozen products tend to be flash frozen, which means once they're picked from the ground, they're frozen and the nutrients are locked in. So there's no more of that degradation process where the nutrients are breaking down. Versus if you had, I don't know, hypothetically, some spinach that was being flown over from another country, as it's sitting in the plane or on the boat, it's breaking down. So those nutrients are being lost. So don't be afraid to buy frozen. Just don't get the ones, obviously, that are loaded in sauces and sodium and, that sort of thing. But frozen vegetables, tinned vegetables, those can be great sources of nutrition that aren't going to break the bank.
Indeed.
Mm-hmm.
No, Courtney, I was looking at your Instagram and I saw a comment from one of your past clients, an Al Rubin, and they said that they had made such progress with you, but one of the things that you helped them to see was that their metabolism was out of whack and you helped to reset it. How does one know if their metabolism is not functioning properly?
Right. So in regards to metabolism, I mean, we all have it, like our bodies just naturally do that, right? So basically metabolism, if you were to break it down, it's your body's ability to utilize food as energy, right? So, and how effective you are at that. But oftentimes what we'll notice, especially with women as hormones change and we get older, is that you may notice more kind of fat deposits, especially in the abdominal area. You may notice low energy, difficulty with sleep, irregularity, right? All of these things may affect the metabolism. And then from there, it's basically what I do is create personalized plans for a patient. So I'm looking at when you're eating, what your likes are, your dislikes, your allergies, things like that, and creating a balanced plan. But if I could give you guys one piece of advice, right, that would help you along the road to improving your metabolism, and more importantly, keeping your energy lifted, your blood sugar stable throughout the day, it's all about how you balance your meals. And I would say 99% of clients who come to me are not doing this particular tip. So for example, that means always having some good protein, always some healthy fats, and always some complex carbohydrates at every single meal that you put together. So you want that key recipe of protein, fat, and complex carbohydrates.
I know some people know this. What's a healthy fat? Like, give me some examples, because healthy fat is something fried.
Oh, yeah.
And I know that's not the answer.
Just likes the most.
Oh, avocado?
Yep.
Is that what you like? Yeah. Oh, no, you don't like it. Oh, no. Okay. Well, there's plenty more, so don't worry. So healthy fats, yes, it includes avocado or guacamole. Also hummus, right? A lot of people think hummus, it's made from chickpeas. Well, hummus is made from olive oil and also tahini, which is a sesame seed paste. So that's a great source of healthy fat. We've got olives and olive oil, which are great sources of fat. We've got our nuts and seeds. So things like pistachios, walnuts, almonds, right? And even the butters. So like cashew butter, walnut butter, almond butter. Those are all going to be great sources of healthy fat that, research has shown us can help improve cardiovascular health, can also help with satiety. So that way you feel satisfied after your meal. Right? Because I think a lot of people, when they think they need to eat healthy, they envision grilled chicken and broccoli or lettuce and just a plain piece of fish on top. No, that's not going to leave you satiated. It's not going to leave you feeling satisfied. And an hour later, you're going to be hungry. And that's when you go and grab the chips and the crackers and the this and the that. And then you get into the state of, oh, I feel guilty, I did this. And then we just go in this circle. So really making sure that you have good quality protein, healthy fat on that plate. Don't be afraid of fat. It doesn't make you fat. Like I said, it's great for the mind, the cardiovascular system. So many benefits to healthy fats.
I'm just proud that I picked up all of those healthy fats yesterday. Go ahead, Carla.
But I'm happy that everything she listed, I actually like. I love hummus, so I'm so proud of myself.
Right.
When I heard you were coming on, I was like, okay, I'm going to mature up this year and I am going to try to incorporate avocado. But I think it's a mental thing. I just cannot do it, but I know it's good.
Right.
But you listed everything else I like, so I think I'm okay. But with that same client that I was just referring to, she said that, I'm assuming it's a woman, but they said that one of the things that they really enjoyed is that you created an eating plan as opposed to a diet. What's the difference? Because some people may not understand what's the difference.
Yeah. So a diet has an end point, right? So a diet will be like, 6-week diet, you will lose 20 pounds. It's marketed as something short term. Whereas an eating plan, and what I create for my clients is something that is long term and sustainable, right? So I tell my clients, I want to give you the tools so that you understand how to build healthy meals so that in a year from now, things are sustained. In a few years from now, you'll be reaching out to me and telling me that things are going well. And that's what I hear from clients years down the line. Oh, I've kept my weight off. I'm doing great. That's what I want to give people the tools to understand how to actually eat healthy versus a diet where it's just restrictive and short term.
Now, you talked about the fatty deposit. I'm giggling because you know how you said it's in the middle as you age. You just can't see mine, right? Jamal, stop laughing. So my question to you is, if I wanted to utilize your services, does one have to be in person or do you do it virtually as well?
So in all honesty, so with my private clients, I would say a year ago, I had an office and I decided to stop leasing in March, not knowing about COVID and everything. And then COVID hit. So I literally have been virtual since March. So I can work with people virtually without any hiccup. So yeah.
Good to know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Carla's gonna be hitting you up. Real quick, I want to touch on this because whenever we're talking about healthier eating, this always comes up about veganism and vegetarianism.
Mm-hmm.
I think at this point people know the difference, but I think we're at the point also where people now understand that being either pescatarian, vegetarian, or vegan does not necessarily equate to being healthier. Speak to us like about your experience and how you can inform people to actually eat healthier if they choose these routes.
Right. So let's start with, what the difference is. Obviously, a pescatarian is a person who incorporates fish and seafood into their diet, but no other animal flesh. There are lacto-ovo vegetarians who include dairy products and eggs. There are ovo-vegetarians who only include eggs and no dairy. And then vegans obviously don't include any source of animal products in their diet. So, that can vary for various people, but the difference is that it's what works for you. Now, I myself have been vegan over the years, and I know that for my body, having some fish on occasion, it feels good to my body. Having eggs on occasion, that protein and those nutrients, that's where my body thrives, right? So, I've had people come to me who've been doing vegan diets and are feeling lethargic, haven't balanced their meals properly. So if you're not balancing the meals effectively, it can affect your energy. You can be at increased risk for nutrient deficiencies. So it's really important that you do these things safely. And obviously that's where dietitians can come in and be helpful, is that we can help guide you and ensure that, your eating plan is balanced.
Interesting. We have a question from the audience. And if you have any questions for Courtney, please just share. Do you require a referral?
No, I do not. Yeah.
Oh, that was simple. So people can literally just contact you and you can go from there with individuals as far as helping them to.
Correct. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. So go ahead, Carla.
Courtney, I know Jamal talked about the mind and different things. So what's the hardest hurdle? Like, I was talking to a friend this weekend about losing weight, and she was like, I need to eat better, blah, 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 blah. She was like, but I just can't do it. How does one overcome that hardest hurdle, which I guess is just starting?
Yeah. So, a lot of weight loss, it's not just I need to eat healthy. There's like a psychological piece as well that is huge that I think people underestimate. So, for example, if, you suffer with depression or anxiety, that could be a barrier as to why you feel like you can't move forward. But again, what I do is I work with people to establish small, smart goals, right? So maybe for your friend, it's as simple as, I'm, instead of ordering takeout 5 days a week, I'm going to cut back to 2 days. You know what I mean? Something that's realistic.
I think we may
people think, oh, hello.
Go ahead, you're back.
Over there? Okay, so if people think that they need to, cook, a healthy balanced meal every single night and do all of these things, it's not necessary. So I know I myself, I don't cook every single night. Like, we have leftovers and things like that. And I try and keep things as easy and simple as possible, right? So that's the most important part.
Indeed. We have a lot of questions coming in. Thea Ferber says, are her services covered by insurance?
So I can provide you with invoices that you can submit to insurance, but everything is out of pocket.
All righty. Charles H. Jeffers too says, is intermittent fasting a good thing?
Yes, so that is a great question. So you'll notice that there tends to be, like, whether you go on social media or you Google and search for things, what's a healthy diet, and keto may pop up, or intermittent fasting, and everything comes in waves. In all honesty, fasting has been studied over many years, there's different types of ways to intermittent fast and things like that. But there are certain populations where intermittent fasting cannot be a good choice. So, for example, women who have sometimes hormonal imbalances, things like PCOS, thyroid issues, because fasting, it does put you into some sort of a stress state. It can sometimes affect the hormones in that particular population. But for others, I would say for men in particular, the intermittent fasting can work well. I've had clients who come to me who have been doing intermittent fasting and they're just complaining of being fatigued and low energy. And it's because their bodies, some breakfast, they need to break the fast by having something earlier on. So every person's a little bit different, but intermittent fasting, can it be done? Yes, but it's just not for every population.
Indeed. Michelle White says, could Courtney speak about anti-inflammatory foods?
Okay, sure. So anti-inflammatory foods, I'll tell you a little personal story, actually. So I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis as a child. And my parents were really big on, natural supplementation, good foods, and knock on wood, I have never actually had to be on any sort of medication for that. So I really try myself to incorporate anti-inflammatory foods. So what does that mean? That means foods that are rich in antioxidants that really help to lower the inflammation in the body. So that's things with good omega-3 fats. That's things with good antioxidants. So just some examples would be things like blueberries, things like walnuts, things like your fatty fish, right? Especially wild caught salmon, sardines, tuna, right? Those are all going to be great sources as well. All your nuts and seeds are going to be anti-inflammatory. Carla's favorite, avocado, guacamole, those are going to be good anti-inflammatory foods. All of your dark leafy greens, they're packed with antioxidants. Swiss chard, collards, mustard greens, right? Those are going to be loaded with antioxidants as well. So one thing I'd like to tell clients, and this is just an easy switch, ask yourself, where's the color on your plate or bowl, whatever, at every meal? If your plate is pretty white or brown, you don't have many antioxidants, it's more than likely not going to be an anti-inflammatory sort of meal. So always try and put at least 2 colors on your plate at every meal, and you're going to be moving in the right direction.
What they call it, the rainbow, right?
Yeah, eat the rainbow. Not the Skittles, right?
I was going to say, I was thinking M&M's, but hey.
No.
I'm telling you, some folk out there would have been like, okay, she just said eat Skittles. Would be helping.
Yeah, I had to preface that.
Maria Goda says, what's your starting rate? Give people information where they can find more about what you do on your website or email.
Sure. So you can reach me on Instagram. I'm at Concierge Nutrition. Or you can shoot me an email. It's my first name, Courtney.Miners @iCloud.com, and I'd be happy to give you more information.
All righty. Well, Courtney, thank you so much. We really wanted to begin the year on a great tip. We appreciate the information that you've shared. If there's, there are people, we're 4 days in, right? And I've come across a few people who have responded to my struggle that I've shared on WhatsApp about my juicing. Some of the responses I've gotten is like, I'm going to start this day. I'm going to start. But I'm that person. And I think even Teresa Stewart, who comes on the show sometimes to contribute financial to the conversations, if we don't start saving today, then we might never start. So if we don't start, just speak to people about starting. Before you leave, talk to us about just getting started.
Yeah. So everybody thinks that, I'm going to start on Monday. So over the weekend, I'm just going to eat all the cookies, eat all the ice cream, clear everything out, and I'll start on Monday. And then Monday comes around and something happens and, I can't start on any other day. I got to wait till next week. And then it just becomes this vicious cycle, right? You can start at any meal at any time to improve your health, right? So even if, let's say, you go and eat out with friends and maybe you select something that may or may not be in line with your health goals, then get on track that next morning. It's never too late. And even over the holidays, I had a lot of conversations with clients about eating around the holidays, and, maybe at Christmas or Thanksgiving or what have you, you eat a little bit more. Okay, that's one day, it's one meal. It's not going to kill your progress, right? So it's the things that you do every single day that will have an impact. So just get back on track.
All righty. Courtney Miners, thank you so much for taking the time to do this with us. We appreciate you. And look, we're going to have you back in a few months because we want to make sure that Carla and I are progressing well with our healthier eating based on the information you shared today. And we want to make sure that Carla has had more than one avocado per month.
Oh, I would love that.
We're going to make you
I've been trying for years, Courtney. I've been trying for years, but I need to do it. I really do.
Give it a try. Little lime juice, really good.
The thing of it is, I have an 11-year-old who eats it like it's his own food group, I have to prepare it for him. I'll do it, but I just don't want to eat it myself. So baby steps. I'm gonna get there.
Baby steps. Baby steps are more than 40 years, Carl. Not more than 40 years.
Yeah.
They just take baby steps for a couple. But Courtney, thanks again. Talk soon.
Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Have a great day.
Thanks.
All right, we're going to take a quick break and then we'll be back. We have the daily play. We have the daily play. And we then have the quote. We're going to give some inspirational quote of the day. Something tells me it has something to do with being healthy. I don't know. I really don't know. But something tells me it does have something to do with eating a bit healthier. So take a quick break. Be back to close out the first episode of the year.
Bermuda, do you know the difference between internet and Wi-Fi? Don't worry, neither did I. Let me break it down to you. Internet is delivered to your modem, which then has to push the Wi-Fi signal into the rest of your home. Do you find that the further you're away from your modem, the weaker your Wi-Fi signal gets? That's because Bermuda's homes are built hurricane tough. It's really difficult for that Wi-Fi signal to reach every room. But you're in luck. Our One Home Wi-Fi solution guarantees Wi-Fi coverage in and around your home with the help of our Eero devices. Plug in the Eero around your home and it will create a mesh Wi-Fi network in every room. Check us out at One Today to sign up and make sure you can stream, work, and play from every corner of your home.
It took 14 days to build your business plan, 6 months to build the courage to leave your day job, 3 weeks to find the perfect location. It took 10 days to outfit your space just right. And 1 day before your first client walked in the door. All totaled, it took you a full year to get your business operational. And this is just the beginning. To the entrepreneurs, the risk takers, the people that shape our economic community, we salute you and are here for you every step of the way. BEDC, providing knowledgeable, progressive, professional, and innovative support to Bermuda businesses.
All right, welcome back to the Big Show. Carla Zul there. I'm Jamel Hartman. Thanks again to One Communications and the Bermuda Economic Development Corporation. Also, thank you so much to Courtney Miners for getting us off on a good note for 2021 with some healthier eating tips. I'm immediately following this episode. I just want to let you know I'm going to actually get some cashews and some almonds and mix them in with some blueberries, and I'm going to have my first meal of the year. So don't worry about if I'm still got stuff all over my face tomorrow morning. It's
How long are you on this juicing thing for?
3 days. It's 3 days.
Okay. All right.
All right. So daily playtime, Carla. You ready?
I am.
All right. So it's a quote today. Help her out, folks. Help her out. Here is the quote of the day. Very easy. Quote, "It always seems impossible until it's done." End quote.
I know this.
Help her out, folks. Give us some love in the comments.
I know this. I've actually quoted this as one of our daily inspirations. But we've done so many, I can't remember. Let me throw it out there. Male or female? Give me a little hint.
It's a male.
Nelson Mandela. Okay.
Absolutely. Always seems impossible until it's done. So Carla gets a... I'm just saying that. Hey, look, new calendar year, some things remain the same.
I think I'm gonna keep a tab, to run some stats.
Yeah. So you're 0 for 1. Let's start. Let's start off. In 2021, Carla is 0 for 1 with the daily play. All right.
I'm gonna make David our statistician. David, keep a tab for me, thanks.
All right, he's your statistician. So look, before we move on, folks, just give us some love. If you haven't already, wherever you're watching this from, if you're watching on social media, like the post. If you are watching on TV, tell someone that you're watching it on TV. If you're watching it on YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube channel. And wherever you're watching it from, let us know in the comments exactly where you are watching from. If you're on the radio station, share it. Let us know where you're listening from. Carla, we need some inspiration. What you got for us?
To keep the body in good health is a duty. Otherwise, we shall not be able to keep the mind strong and clear. Buddha.
Say it again.
To keep the body in good health is a duty. Otherwise, we shall not be able to keep the mind strong and clear. Buddha.
I love it. I'm sorry. I was not clear on my question. I said to people, let us know where you're watching from. I didn't mean which social medium. I meant which location, folks. Sorry. So let us know where you're watching from, as in terms of location. Where are you watching? And don't just say Bermuda. Let us know where in Bermuda if you're from there. We do have London in the house, Mr. O'Brien Osborne. That's a former.
Oh, hi, O'Brien.
Yeah, I was a thorn in Mr. Osborne's side. I hope I'm making you proud, Mr. Osborne. It's not the same little Jamal. I have a beard now, so the beard changes things, hopefully.
You gave him headaches?
I mean, name a teacher that didn't get a headache from me. Come on. Shucks. You know what? It doesn't go to teachers anymore. It just goes to the people in my life. People like name wife and stuff. Carla.
Me, I was going to say.
Yeah. Robert Durham says Pembroke, Burmy. There we go. So we have some people in Bermuda. Well, more Pembroke. Look, Pembroke always represents Atlanta, St. George's. We have Southampton in the house, Devonshire. We have Smiths, Warwick, Town Hill. All righty. So I like to see it. Everyone's different places. We have Sinky Bay, Southampton. Absolutely. Oh, there you go. I'm glad. Back at work sec. Is that y'all's version of back at time? Back at work. Crow, the best place in the East Bayless Bay in the house. We got Devil's Hill, Frizzle's Hill up here, Loyal Hill, Devonshire. So we appreciate you all. We really do. Carla, any final words after what we discussed today, from the politicians being accessible on social media to the healthier eating?
Politicians, stop trying to give people the okie doke. If you cannot do your own social media, pay someone to do it. Okay. And with the healthy eating, let's all just make a commitment, period, to just eat better and do better so we can feel better.
Indeed. Just want to share a former teacher of mine. I love the fact that former people who have educated me in my life tune in. It really makes me proud. So I really do. And I say, I mean it when I say, I hope I'm making them proud too, because this is your works.
Morning, doctor. Morning, Chappie.
I want to say this before we head out. I've never looked at a calendar year as a way of starting fresh, but I have been doing a Daniel fast for the last probably 10 or 11 years now, which is January 1st to the 21st for me. But let me start with the politicians. At the end of the day, they are human beings. And I'm going to use myself as an example. I don't care for Instagram. I don't care for TikTok. I don't care for a lot of things. I don't care for Facebook necessarily, but I understand what I do for a living. And so sometimes we have to do things we don't personally want to do so that people we want to help benefit from it. Yeah. So I don't think necessarily these are bad people. They just are stuck in their ways and don't want to evolve. But if they want to remain, they have to understand that things have evolved from what politicians were in the early 2000s, the 90s, and 80s. So you have to meet your voters where you are. In reference to Courtney, I'm so thankful, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the conversations we're having this week, which are on the same level. Tomorrow we have Jody Virgil coming back from Organized Bermuda Solutions, who's going to speak to us about, out with the old and with the new. Getting ready for the new calendar year by clearing space. We always try to carry so much with us, and sometimes we just need to let go. So on that note, thank you to every last one of you for continuing to trust this platform, whether it be in the audience, to our partners, Medical House, Lindo's, Bermuda Economic Development Corporation, One Communications, Eliana's, Pizza House, Peoples, everybody. We appreciate you. So as always, we appreciate you. We love you. We thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow.